Blood pours from the Night Hound's serious wounds, staining the gold coins beneath him. He stands firm, his body pierced by golden weapons, having shielded Dolores from the demon's attack. From below, a horrified Dolores can only look up and whisper his name. Trapped behind a red barrier, she feels guilty, realizing he has once again been badly hurt while protecting her. Refusing to fall, the Night Hound grabs the golden weapons stuck in his body. With a surge of red demonic energy, he shatters them, freeing himself. Seeing his terrible state, a panicked Dolores presses against the barrier, shouting that he needs healing magic immediately. Her hands push against the red magical shield, trying desperately to break free and help him. Floating inside the circle, Dolores wonders why the barrier has returned. She pleads with it to let her out, insisting she can help. However, the Eye of Decarabia tells her that its master has made the barrier much stronger than before, and it can't be easily broken. The Night Hound then looks back at her and firmly tells her not to come out from the shield. He warns her that it's too dangerous, and with that, he leaps away from the barrier and back into the fight to face the swirling golden energy being summoned by the demon. Dolores can only watch him go, her face full of desperation and tears. Bile attacks again, summoning countless sharp golden blades that fill the air, ready to fall on the Night Hound. Getting ready, the Night Hound stares down the attack with his glowing red eyes, gripping his huge red greatsword. As the golden blades rain down, he fights back, swinging his weapon in a fast, defensive flurry of red slashes that meets the incoming storm. The clash of red and gold energy shatters the golden weapons, completely stopping the demon's attack. Among the falling golden pieces, the Night Hound glares at his enemy, having survived the attack and ready for the next move. Not bothered by the Night Hound's defense, the demon Bile raises its huge ugly arm, preparing for another devastating attack. With a powerful strike, it brings its blade crashing down, slamming the Night Hound into the ground with enough force to send him flying. The Night Hound lies beaten among the scattered gold coins, his body having taken a huge amount of damage. Blood splatters across his face as he grits his teeth in pain, refusing to be defeated. Bile, angry at his opponent's toughness, unleashes an even more powerful attack. Using its control over the treasure, it summons a giant fist made of pure gold, raising it high above the downed warrior. The massive golden fist then comes hurtling down, aiming to crush the Night Hound completely. Looking up from the ground, the Night Hound's eyes widen in real shock at the overwhelming power about to hit him. Meanwhile, trapped in Decarabia's protective barrier, Dolores fights her own desperate battle. Refusing to stand by, she repeatedly hits the magical shield with her bare hands, trying to break free. The effort, however, only results in her own hands and arms becoming wounded and bloody. Despite the pain, she continues her attack, a blindfold of holy light covering her eyes as she pours all her strength into trying to break the barrier. Her efforts are for nothing. A pool of blood forms at her feet from her self-inflicted wounds. The ancient demon Decarabia watches, its eye seeming to notice her injuries as it speaks to the Saintess, pointing out the state of her hands. The realization of her powerlessness is too much for Dolores, and her strength finally gives out, causing her to collapse to her knees. Overwhelmed by despair, she looks down at her trembling, bloodied hands, hating that there is nothing she can do to help. Kneeling in despair, Dolores thinks about her power. Her divinity, she knows, comes from a pure faith in God and the ideals of justice and equality. However, she feels this holy power is completely useless against a demon whose strength comes from human greed and the worship of money. She remembers her battle against the demon Dantalion, a time when she believed she had overcome her limits and awakened her potential. She had thought this time would be different, that she would be able to stand proudly and help the Night Hound with her own strength. But those hopes are shattered by the memory of his command for her to stay inside the barrier, and his warning that it was too dangerous as he leaped back into the fight alone. The feeling of being a burden, of not being able to help him, overwhelms her. Tears of frustration and self-hatred stream down her face as she hates her own weakness. Meanwhile, the battle continues. The badly wounded Night Hound ignores his pain. Blood drips from his wounds onto the golden floor, but he forces himself back to his feet, stepping into his own blood with new determination. With his red dagger glowing, he charges at the demon Bile. In a flash of red light, he swings his blade with incredible speed, cleanly cutting off the demon's huge arm. He glares at the beast, his resolve unbroken. However, the demon is not so easily beaten. The Night Hound's eyes widen in shock as Bile instantly closes the distance and delivers a powerful, unexpected strike. The force of the blow sends the Night Hound flying backward across the room. He crashes to the ground, slumping over, bleeding heavily from a huge wound in his chest, having landed inside the very barrier he had created to protect Dolores. having been thrown into the barrier he created to protect Dolores. The Night Hound slumps, bleeding heavily from his chest. He curses, realizing the toll the battle is taking. He assesses his quickly worsening condition. His mana use is far more severe than he had expected. The continuous use of his solid aura and the large amount of mana needed to maintain Decarabia's powerful barrier are draining his energy at an alarming rate. To make things worse, even the strong healing ability of his demonic dagger is starting to weaken. He knows that just surviving until their planned time is up is not enough. If he can't land a final, fatal blow on Bile, who is already shown regenerating his cut-off arm with a swarm of gold coins, then all their sacrifices will have been for nothing. He thinks about using a final, desperate technique that would require all his remaining mana. He is filled with doubt, wondering if the incomplete skill will even be enough. His dark thoughts are suddenly interrupted by a gentle touch. To his complete surprise, Dolores has pushed her hand through the supposedly unbreakable barrier, a golden light coming from her palm. He turns to face her as she stands with her arms outstretched, her bloodied hands showing her struggle. With new determination, she says that she will fight alongside him. She declares that she can no longer stand by and watch him get hurt while trying to protect her. The Night Hound tries to stop her, telling her she has already done more than enough. However, she cuts him off, her voice filled with conviction as she insists it is because she is weak that she must act. With tears in her eyes, she looks at her hands, which are now glowing with holy power, and asks him if he truly believes she is not a help but a burden. Her words strike a chord, and the Night Hound is silent for a moment. Internally, he calls himself a fool. He thinks that in all his life or death battles, he has never stopped to worry about the risks. He rises to his feet, his battered body radiating a new sense of purpose. He believes the path before him has always been one of overcoming any challenge, and protecting the Saintess is no different. He finally answers her question, telling her that could not be further from the truth. He explains that she is a precious companion, a soul who achieved a powerful awakening with him. Because of this bond, she is someone he is sworn to protect, no matter the cost. Standing protectively before her once more, his red eyes glowing with fierce resolve, he prepares to face the demon with his ally now truly by his side. As the battle rages, Dolores' mind flashes back to a memory from her childhood. A much younger version of herself runs through a sunlit church, calling out for the Pope. She throws herself into his arms, and he gently asks his Saintess what is wrong. Sobbing, she tells him she had a terrible dream about a great evil that was swallowing the world. She asks him what would happen if the dream were real, crying that her own divine power is still too weak to save everyone. The Pope comforts the young Dolores, gently wiping away her tears. He remarks on her kind heart, noting how she worries about helping others even in her nightmares. He kneels before her, placing a reassuring hand on her head. He explains that while her power may seem small now, her divinity grows from a heart that believes in both God and herself. He acknowledges that faith can be a lonely path. However, he predicts that one day, when her faith connects with the genuine trust of another, when she finds a true companion to walk the path with her, her power will grow to be far greater than she could ever imagine. The memory fades as the present-day battle intensifies. The mountains of gold in the vault begin to tremble violently. The demon Bile roars that the time for talk is over. It unleashes a massive, swirling torrent of golden energy, boasting that their pathetic abilities can no longer stand against its endless power. The golden storm surrounds both the Night Hound and Dolores, who stand together inside the red protective circle. Amidst the chaos, Dolores begins to chant a powerful prayer. Her voice rings out, reciting a scripture. The Lord is a strong castle, a shield and weapon against ruin. The Night Hound looks on, amazed at the sheer power coming from her. With her hands clasped, Dolores continues her prayer, wishing to carry the burden he carries and be someone he can lean on. She calls for a mighty general to come forth and fight by her side. Her prayer reaches its peak. She declares that if the Night Hound truly trusts her, if he truly sees her as a comrade and not just someone to be protected, then he must tell her his name. With tears streaming down her face and her entire body glowing with an immense golden aura, she makes her final, desperate plea, demanding to know the sacred name of the warrior she is empowering. A moment of silence hangs in the air. Then, a quiet, unfamiliar voice cuts through the storm. He speaks a single syllable. Van. Dolores' eyes snap open, her face a mask of pure shock as she recognizes the voice and the name. As the golden light shines on him, the Night Hound's mask and hood seem to fade away, revealing the face of the young man she knows. He turns to her, his red eye meeting hers, and confirms his identity. It's Van. This is the end of the video. If you guys want to see the next part, then don't forget to subscribe and like the video.